New BYD owners always mod the same three things first: a screen protector, floor mats, maybe a wrap. And look, those are fine. They just aren't the mods that actually matter. And they're definitely not the ones that will save your paint or your battery pack down the line. But after going through hundreds of owner reports, BYD's official service documentation, and forum threads from independent mechanics who actually work on these cars every day, the mods that matter aren't the ones people grab in month one. Some cost $20. Some are completely free. And 6 of them, if you get them wrong, will flat out wreck your car, sometimes in ways that don't show up until months later. We're counting all 20 down, worst case first. So stick around for the full list, because the order here isn't random. Here's exactly what's coming, counting down from 20 to 1. 14 upgrades that actually protect your paint, your battery, and your sanity. Most of them under $50, and a handful of them completely free. Then 6 mods, numbers 6 through 1, that have genuinely bricked computers, drained batteries overnight, and in one documented case, sent an adapter exploding across a charging station. Stick around, because Mod 11 and Mod 1 are the same category of upgrade, done right versus done wrong, and that difference alone could save you thousands of dollars and a very bad morning. By the time we hit Mod 1, you'll know exactly which category every future mod you're tempted to buy actually falls into. Number 20, mud flaps. BYD ships most models: the Atto 3, the Dolphin, the Song Plus DMI, with either no factory mud guards or barely there ones. Without them, every pebble your front tires kick up goes straight into the painted panels below your doors. Owners have posted photos of rocker chips showing up in as little as a few months of normal driving, sometimes even sooner on gravel roads, or after a single long highway trip in the rain. A set of no-drill mud flaps runs $20 to $35, mounts onto the factory clips, 10-minute install, 0 tools required, and no dealer visit needed. It's the cheapest paint insurance you'll ever buy, and it pays for itself the very first time you avoid a body shop quote for touch-up paint and clear coat repair, which can run into the hundreds for something a $30 flap would have stopped. Number 19, rocker panel paint protection film. Mod 19 pairs directly with Mod 20. Mud flaps catch most debris, but not all of it. The rocker panels are the single most exposed part of the car, sitting low enough to take a direct hit from anything your tires throw up at highway speed. Clear coat, sandblasted down to primer in under a year is not rare, especially if you drive rural roads or through a lot of construction zones with loose gravel. Pre-cut PPF strips run $350 to $400 installed, and most body shops can do it in an afternoon. Combine it with the mud flaps, and you've covered the one weak spot BYD didn't bother addressing at the factory, front to back. Number 18, a door seal kit. This surprised even seasoned mechanics. BYD leaves visible gaps in the door and trunk seals to save on production cost. On some cars, you can genuinely fit a finger into the gap without much effort, which tells you exactly where that highway wind noise is coming from. An aftermarket EPDM rubber kit fills it in, and owners using sound meters have measured a real, repeatable drop in cabin noise at highway speed, sometimes several decibels worth. $30 to $50, peel and stick, no tools, done in under half an hour. If your BYD feels louder than it should on the motorway, especially compared to what the spec sheet promises, this is very often why, and most owners say they wish they'd done it the week they bought the car. But before Mod 17, here's something almost nobody checks, and it takes about 10 seconds to fix once you know it's there. Inside that glove box is a single point of failure that decides whether your BYD's entire security system, dashcam included, actually works when you need it most, and not 1 in 10 owners has ever looked. Number 17, a proper high-endurance microSD card for your dashcam. This is one of the most common regrets in BYD owner groups, and it's almost always avoidable. A cheap flash drive can't handle continuous multi-camera recording. And here's the dangerous part. It fails silently. You don't get an error message. You don't get a warning light. You just don't find out until you actually need that footage after a break-in or a parking lot hit and run, and by then, it's far too late. Industry standard guidance for continuous recording dash cams, the same advice reputable installers give BYD owners, points to a card in the 128GB range, class 10 or better, specifically high endurance rated, not a standard consumer card meant for photos. $25 to $40, a 5-minute swap, and no subscription required. It's consistently one of the most requested fixes after someone's footage let them down at the worst possible moment. And it's cheap enough that there's really no excuse to skip it. Number 16. EV-specific jack pad adapters. Have you thought about what actually happens if you get a flat and the tow truck driver has never touched an EV before? Which happens more often than you'd think. Like nearly every EV on the road, BYD's jacking points sit along the reinforced pinch weld, never under the flat underbody where the battery pack lives. A jack in the wrong spot can puncture the battery enclosure or bend the chassis. This is a well-documented risk across the entire EV industry, not just BYD, and it has happened on real roadside calls. A set of 4 molded rubber adapters costs about $25, stores flat under your trunk floor, and takes up almost no room. Most BYD models don't include a full roadside kit, so you want these ready before you ever actually need them, not after, when the tow truck is already on its way and improvising with whatever's in the trunk. Number 15. Front bumper PPF, or a full ceramic coating. Everyone eventually protects the bumper. It takes the brunt of highway debris on every single drive, front first, no matter how carefully you drive. But pairing it with ceramic coating across the whole body adds real resistance against bird droppings, tree sap, and UV fading etching permanently into BYD's clear coat over time. $300 to $800 depending on coverage and the size of the vehicle. For anyone keeping their BYD long-term instead of flipping it in a year or two, this is one of the higher value mods on the entire list, and it shows up directly in resale value when you eventually sell or trade it in. Number 14. All-weather floor mats and a trunk liner. Basic, but BYD's factory carpet, especially in lighter trims like the Han or Celian 7, stains fast and isn't cheap to clean. Professionally, once a spill actually sets in. A custom-fit all-weather set runs $40 to $90, takes 30 seconds to lift out and hose off, and protects both your sanity and your resale value at trade-in time, especially if you've got kids or a dog. Number 13. Tempered glass for the main infotainment display. BYD runs almost everything through that touchscreen. Climate, drive modes, navigation, even the glove box release on some models, so a scratch screen isn't just cosmetic. $10 to $20 buys cheap peace of mind on what's basically the command center of the entire car, and it peels off and replaces in seconds if it ever gets scuffed. No dealer trip required. Now here's where it gets interesting, because Mod 12 solves a problem. BYD engineers openly admit they didn't fully design around, and it's the exact same category of mistake that shows up later, at Mod 1, done the wrong way, and with far worse consequences. Number 12. An active cooling wireless phone mount. Try using the factory wireless pad on a long drive, and you already know the problem. The phone overheats, charging speed tanks, and somehow your battery is lower when you arrive than when you left, even though it sat on the charger the whole time. A mount with a built-in fan fixes this and keeps the screen at eye level for navigation, instead of buried in a cup holder where you can't even glance at it. $45 to $60. You'll notice the difference within 10 minutes of your next road trip, especially in summer. Number 11. A reputable ambient lighting kit. BYD interiors, especially budget-focused models like the Dolphin and Atto 3, are noticeably dimmer at night than rivals like BMW or Mercedes, and it's one of the first things owners say they'd change. A full cabin RGB kit from an established brand changes how the car feels after dark almost instantly, without touching a single wire outside the factory harness. 30 to 60 minutes, plug and play, no cutting required. But stick to real brands with real reviews, because we're coming back to why in a few minutes. This exact category goes very wrong at Mod 1, when you buy the cheapest option instead of the tested one. Number 10. A read-only OBD battery health dongle. For the data nerds, and I say that with love, a read-only OBD dongle logs battery, health, efficiency, and charging sessions over time, all pulled straight into an app on your phone. This is different from the dongles we're warning you about later in this video. This type only reads data. It never writes commands back to the car's systems, so there's nothing to brick. Owners use this to catch degradation early, long before the dashboard would ever flag it on its own, which matters a lot if you're planning to sell down the line. Number 9. A genuine tow bar and wiring kit for the Shark 6. It's one of the only models in the entire BYD lineup actually built for towing, rated up to 2,500 kilograms braked, and a vehicle-specific kit with the correct ECU wiring harness, not a generic universal one, is the difference between a clean setup and one throwing electrical fault codes every single time you plug in a trailer. Several $100s installed by a shop that knows the platform, but for anyone actually using the Shark 6 as intended, hauling a boat or a trailer regularly, it's simply not optional, and skipping it is how you end up stranded on a boat ramp with a check engine light. Number 8. A trunk and underfloor organizer. Most BYD boots go completely wasted because it's just one open cavity with nothing to break it up, so everything you load in just slides around on every turn. A modular organizer stops groceries from rolling around and hides valuables from window shoppers in a parking lot, all while keeping the space actually usable. $30 to $80. One of those mods you'll wonder how you ever lived without once it's in, and it makes every grocery run noticeably less annoying. Number 7. The app's preconditioning timer and fan-only cabin cooling. This one's free. It's a built-in feature most owners never bother setting up properly, and it takes a total of 5 minutes the first time you do it. Imagine walking out to your BYD on a freezing morning, and the cabin's already warm, the seats already heated, the battery already preconditioned for maximum range before you even touch the pedal. That's the BYD app's preconditioning timer, using wall power instead of draining the pack after you're already driving. On the flip side, the ventilation-only mode keeps the cabin from becoming an oven in a hot parking lot without running the full compressor. A meaningful energy save over a full summer of daily driving. 5 minutes to set up. Once, ever. Almost nobody does it. Those first 14 protect and improve your ownership experience, and none of them carry any real downside. But now for the part you really need to hear. These next 6, counting down from 6 to 1, have caused real damage, real warranty denials, and in one documented case, real physical danger. And every single one of them started out looking completely harmless to the person who installed it. If this saved you from an expensive mistake, subscribe for more BYD ownership breakdowns every week. And check out the video on screen now for the mistakes that could cost you even more. Number 6. ECU, jailbreaks and hidden feature unlock dongles. These plug into your OBD port, promising to unlock features BYD has deliberately locked behind software. And honestly, it sounds tempting when a forum post says it's easy. But security researchers have repeatedly shown that many of these dongles and their companion apps have weak or no authentication at all, meaning once one's plugged in, it can potentially be accessed by anything nearby with the right software, wirelessly. Beyond the safety risk, this is exactly the kind of modification BYD's warranty documentation excludes by name, in writing. If it bricks the main computer, and it has happened to real owners, you're looking at a repair bill running into the thousands, plus the tow to get it there, plus however long the dealer takes to source the replacement module. Number 5. Cheap or uncertified charging adapters. This one's dangerous, not just expensive, and it's the mod on this whole list with the highest real-world stakes. In a widely reported 2024 case in British Columbia, a driver using an uncertified third-party fast-charging adapter was knocked to the ground when it suffered an arc flash explosion mid-charge. Investigators traced the root fault to a short circuit inside the charging station itself. But the uncertified adapter became part of that fault path, without the safety certification and interlocks that would normally catch a fault like this before it ever goes that far. Budget adapters have also been reported melting on home units because the internal conductors aren't rated for sustained current draw. Even your garage outlet matters. A standard hardware store outlet isn't built for continuous 40-amp draw over hours. BYD's warranty explicitly does not cover third-party charging equipment damage. Full stop. This is not where you save $20, and it's the one mod on this entire countdown where the cheap option can genuinely put you in the hospital, not just the shop. Number 4. Cheap, no-name coilovers and suspension kits. Owners who've swapped budget suspension into models like the Seal report harsh bouncing, clunks, and rattles that weren't there before, because spring rates weren't matched to the car's actual weight. And EVs carry a heavy battery pack low in the chassis that changes everything about how the suspension needs to behave. Get that wrong, and the whole car handles differently in every single corner. Lower it too aggressively, and suspension sensors get pushed out of their calibrated range, triggering stability control and ABS faults on the dash. Here's the part that really stings. Dealers have denied warranty claims on completely unrelated issues, like a failing wheel bearing on the other side of the car, simply because aftermarket suspension was installed anywhere on the vehicle, even on a completely different corner of the car than where the fault actually occurred. Number 3. Aftermarket wheels with the wrong offset. Changing offset changes your track width, and that throws off the reference points your car's cameras and sensors were originally calibrated against at the factory. Owners report persistent TPMS warnings that won't clear after a wheel swap, even after a reset. But more critically, altered geometry can quietly degrade lane keeping and adaptive cruise performance in ways you won't notice on a calm afternoon drive, only in the exact moment you actually need them to work, which is exactly the wrong time to discover a problem. Number 2. Hardwired accessories. Wired to constant power. Aftermarket amps, LED kits, GPS trackers. The damage doesn't show up right away, which is exactly what makes this one so easy to get wrong. Wired incorrectly, straight to constant power instead of a properly switched circuit, they keep drawing current even after the car locks itself and goes to sleep for the night. A healthy car draws roughly 20 to 50 milliamps at rest, so anything meaningfully above that drains your 12-volt battery in a matter of days, and repeated deep drains cascade into real damage on the DC to DC converter and other control modules over time. If an installer can't show you exactly which switched circuit they're tapping into, walk away and find someone who actually can, even if it costs a little more up front. Number 1. Cheap, no-name ambient lighting and puddle light kits. Same category we praised at Mod 11, but from the wrong seller. And that difference is the entire point of this countdown. Poorly engineered kits with unregulated current draw have been reported to prevent EVs from properly entering deep sleep mode overnight. Your car never fully powers down, so it drains the whole time you think it's resting quietly in the driveway. And it's brutal to diagnose, because everything looks completely normal until it just won't start one morning, with no warning at all. The fix isn't avoiding ambient lighting altogether, because it genuinely does make the cabin feel better. It's only ever buying from brands with a real track record and real reviews behind them, the same rule that applies to almost everything on this list. So here's the rule worth remembering after all 20 of these. If a mod doesn't touch your wiring, your suspension, or your software, it's almost always safe. And most of the mods on this list fall right into that category. But the moment it connects to the electrical system, or the CAN bus. Do your homework first and buy from brands thousands of other owners have already tested and vouched for, not the cheapest listing you find scrolling at 2 in the morning. Get this right, and your BYD stays protected, comfortable, and exactly as reliable as the day you first drove it off the lot, mod after mod, for years to come. If this saved you from an expensive mistake, subscribe for more BYD ownership breakdowns every week. And check out the video on screen now for the mistakes that could cost you even more.